It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show. And now the host, Calvin Logan.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Logan Power Show, nationwide, worldwide, and we are happy to have another episode of the Logan Power Show. Before you do anything, I need you to subscribe. I need you to keep this on repeat. I need you to tell yourself, I want to be connected to the Logan Power Show. So you got to email us, the loganpowershow@gmail.com. We're in the Logan Power Studios, and we're happy again to have another episode of the Logan Power Show. Well, I'm going to turn the heat up. I'm going to get everybody the volume. My volume is going to be on max level because this lady's coming with all this heat, this fire that you want to have in your life. She is an author. She has her own show. It's called the Heat Seekers Talk Show. Also, Amplified Exposure Live. She is the CEO and owner of the Heat Seekers magazine. She's done so many things, and she is originally from Boston, Massachusetts. She's the one and only Mrs. Teresa Howell. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you? That was
great,
a pleasant
said a lot of different things. Oh yeah, you know, I gotta get, yeah, you gotta give honor where honor to give people their flowers early. So that's how I look at it. Yes, ma'am. So let's talk about it. You've been doing your talk show, and you have two different ones that have a lot of different pizzazz and a lot of energy. What made you start the Heat Seekers Talk Show, and on top of that, the Amplified Exposure Live? What came with that concept of saying, "Hey, this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna be my own talk show host"?
Well, Amplified Exposure Live was something that came in a dream like 2017, and I wasn't ready to put it into fruition at that time. So when COVID hit, we were all sitting around doing nothing. And I had a couple of celebrity friends that said, hey, why don't you do a talk show? Because everybody's sitting at home, you'll be able to get every celebrity possible right now. And that's exactly what happened. I was able to, from Howard Hewitt to the Jacksons to Matthew Knowles, you name it. I think I've interviewed over 200 people during the whole between June 2020 and June 2021. I kind of slowed down on the interviews after June 2021 because I started entering into other projects. But that's basically how the talk show got started. And from there, because I was working in the music industry as well, the same individual said, well, do something for indies since you have all these celebrities that are coming on your show from the music world. So I started doing that. Indie artists are really different. So I didn't really too much carry that show like I did Amplified Exposure. So I think we only got like maybe 2 seasons done. And then I said, okay, I think this will be better in a magazine format than a show. And that's how that got started.
Okay. Now, you know, it's amazing that you did a lot of things in the pandemic. I know a lot of changes that I have done in the pandemic. So I definitely understand making that shift and change, and, you know, definitely interviewing 200 people in a year. That's a lot of work. And people don't understand the kind of time and effort and transition. You got to constantly be having your mind wrapping in your head like, oh, it's time to work. It's time to get busy. So
it's 4 times a week.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So when you think about yourself, did you ever see yourself being a talk show host, like getting involved in multifacets of being your own enterprise? Did that ever cross your mind when you first started? It's like, oh, this is my life. I'm gonna change the world.
Well, like I said, it came to me in a dream in 2016, 2017. So I was hoping that one day that it would happen. I really didn't know that was going to happen. The goal that came about was actually doing it in a studio. And I was already writing books at the time. So I did have that big dream of being like that next Oprah Winfrey of the 21st century, but I did not have the tools for it to come to fruition. And I did not have the platform like I do now. I learned a lot along the way and started doing plays and some other stuff. And so with all the different followings from the different levels of entertainment, I said, I actually can do this because there's certain things that I do that Oprah doesn't do. So I might have topped her a little bit, just a little bit. I don't have her money yet, but I think I topped her in the activities. Mm-hmm.
I got it. And being an author yourself, 5 books currently available right now to teresahowell.com. Definitely somewhere you want to get purchase her books today. When did you tell yourself, I didn't take a rest? 'Cause I know it seemed like you've been on go these past 6+ years and haven't really had the time to really think and say, okay, wow, I've done so much in this time. What's the next? Because an author, talk show host, magazine. There's so many levels of that particular world of challenges and trying to perfect your craft. Have you ever got a chance to say, you know what? Let me get some me time to be like, whoa, and really think, okay, now I'm ready to go.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I stopped the show. I definitely need that me time. Dealing with several different indie artists, I started doing Sony Orchard distribution on top of that, which is probably a pain in my side. So that is very, very, very extensive because, a lot of indies that come to me don't know anything about the music industry at all. They just want their stuff to be top 10 on the whatever list. So dealing with indies and trying to do the show and trying to do book, because, you got to do your research when you have all these different people, and trying to do the research and trying to write and trying to continue to do plays. And it was just, I was like, okay, wait a minute, Lord, thank you for the gifts. However, like something has to give. So that's the reason why I said, let me put the shows to the side, because my real passion and real gift is writing. That's where it all started. So let me continue to go back to the drawing board and do the writing piece. And then, the magazine is going to flourish because of the writing piece. And I have a team of like 7 people that are authors, book reviewers, music critics that actually help with editorials with the magazine. So the magazine is a little bit better and not so stressful because I have that assistance. But the show, it was like I was doing everything myself. Sony Orchard, I'm doing everything myself. And I said, okay, let me just go back to the books basics and continue with that instead of trying to do all these different things on my platform at one time, because it was very exhausting. And I also have a full-time job. Don't think that this is, this entrepreneurship pays to the point where I became rich, because I'm not there yet. I'm a full-time teacher. I work as a teacher in the daytime. So yeah, I was exhausted.
Shout out to all my teachers who put on that work and making our educational system stay on course is what I would say, because I know it's a tough task. It's not easy, and it takes a village is what I would say. Let me put it like that. That could be a whole year segment of talking about what teachers are dealing with, how education is totally revamped. Now, because you are, if you don't mind, like, what do you teach? What is you teaching now currently?
I'm a special education teacher. I teach language arts, ironically, being a writer. I do teach some math classes. And I've also did the whole gamut of education, from assistant principal to sped director to like a literary coach. So I guess that's just how my life runs. Like when I grab hold of something, I just start doing 50 million things within it. And then I finally said, okay, well, I'm not going to have the time that I want if I'm going to continue to do all of this. So I went back into the classroom maybe about 3 years ago.
Okay, got it. So when you teach, do you actually like sort of be one of those talent scouts to say, you know what, this kid got talent. You know, maybe if I show you something that I do, then I can really pull the best out of you. I know a lot of times some of your best teachers can be some of your best performers and best entrepreneurs because they have that idea status to how to be great. So do you sometimes see yourself like, you know what, we're gonna talk about ELA in a second. I'm gonna talk about it in a second. But let me tell you, teach you, if you want to be this, it's gonna require X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this generation is a little different. They're not too concerned about future stuff like we were growing up. So their philosophy or bringing things into fruition is like, I'll get to that another time. I've had some kids that were great writers, but they had no desire to be a writer. Great singers, no desire to be a singer. So, I mean, I was like that in a sense too. I went to a community college where I'm from, Roxbury Community College in Boston, and I had a teacher tell me, you should be a writer, because she had us do like a short story or something. And I was trying to be one of Janet Jackson's backup singers. I wasn't trying to be no writer. So, you know, I didn't pay her no mind at age 19, and that's kind of how the kids are today. Like, it's just not unless it's a rapper or someone in the sports industry, like they really don't care. So
I got it. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a different generation. I try to put it out there. I show them my books. I show them, you know, if that's what they want to do, or I give them insight about music, but they really, at this stage, they're not really taking it seriously. So hopefully down the line, some ones that I've tried to help will make it happen.
Got it. So, you know, since you are in a good space in life where you're understanding that, you know, having a dream does require work, and you may not have it all your ducks in a row financially, but you know that what you want to have, that you can just solely just focus on your purpose. But you understand, I'm not going to let my dream or my purpose sort of just die out. I'm gonna still walk in my purpose and continuing moving on, evolving as time evolves. Can you give some insight to like how you never quit? I know a lot of times when people have a business and do entrepreneurship, they feel if it hasn't hit on day one or month one or year one, you know, hey, then I'm gonna just work my regular 9 to 5 and that dream is dead. How can you speak to like what's kept you moving in your development of your dream without allowing hurdles to stop you from not moving forward?
Well, being in the book industry, my book hit really quickly and it went further than we ever expected. Like the first year, it was like over 10,000 copies sold. So being in the spotlight, because I had a following early on in this, being in the spotlight, I felt like I owed it to people that I continued. And I was more so doing it for others than myself, because honestly, I didn't even believe that I could do all the things that I'm doing. So, but other people believed in me, which was kind of strange for me, because I'm like, you don't even know me. Like, you really see me doing that? And they'd be like, yeah, especially, you know, people in church, God told me to tell you. And I'm like, okay, God, why you didn't tell me that? So, you know, to be in the spotlight and to have people make you accountable, like you have no choice but to keep it moving, you know, if you care about your reputation or your fan base. And so it was the people around me that made me stronger and stronger and made me believe, oh, I can do this even though I don't have the finances. I can do this even though I don't have the support. So it was amazing how every time I wanted to give up, there was somebody in the background saying, no, you can do it, you can do it. So I've had like personal cheerleaders throughout.
I got it. So being that you had people who didn't quit on you, people who have had your back and you've kept the faith, tell us what the end game or what is the, you had the dream, uh, what is, where do you see it? Like the next 10, 20 years, where do you see yourself? And how do you want this to be all said and done? Like 20 years, 30 years from now?
Well, my goal, like most entrepreneurs, is to get 7 streams of income one day. I don't know what day, maybe tomorrow, but it ain't happening today. But that's my goal. And my goal is to leave a legacy for my children so that they won't have to struggle. Like every generation should be getting better and brighter. My parents grew up poor. Then here I come. They put me through private schools. They do all these nice things for me, make sure that I have what I need. And I want to make sure that my kids don't have to struggle at all. Like if they just worked for my company, I want my company to be up and flourishing to the point where my son, my oldest son, could run it and really do a lot of great things with it. So I want it to be generational wealth. How to continue it on? I don't know how that's going to happen, but I do believe in God. Has where there's a will, there's a way, and you know, faith without works is dead. So it really is up to me to continue on the journey, no matter what it looks like. I've had some good days, and I've had some really bad days. The magazine is flourishing. We went from 3 or 4 readers to like 5,000, and I want to have 100,000. So one day that will be something to say, hey, you know, we can use this as a source of income. One day my books will have me not going back into the classroom, where I can say, hey, this is going to be my main source of income. So I believe it's going to happen. I believe it's coming real soon. We're right around the corner. I just feel it. But, you know, I do shows, and I do interviews, and I do book signings, and I travel just so like when people like you play this tape again and Oprah sees it, maybe I can get a donation. That's the goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to do this for you real quick, something different. I'm going to let you have the floor for about a minute or two to talk to that person who may not have that opportunity, who may have been in your shoes when they first got started. I want you to be the coach. I want you to tell them what they're going to need to be successful to get them to the mountaintop. Because sometimes what people don't understand is sometimes what we have, some folks don't really tell them the actual formula to success. You know, sometimes people, they talk about the end game, but they don't talk about what got them in the middle. You talk about how you started, but not the middle process. If you knew how you got to where you're looking at now, they'd be like, maybe I may not want to do it. Because sometimes people understand a dream is a glimpse. It's not showing you the whole thing. And the funny thing is that some dreams last about 30 seconds to a minute, some may a couple of minutes, and you thought like you was in the dream for hours mentally, but it was like you was only dreaming for like 2 minutes, and you saw the whole world. So I'm gonna let you have time to speak to that person that may not know their way or finding their way, and I'm gonna let you be the coach. Is that okay with you?
That's fine.
All right, the floor is yours.
So we used to have a church slogan at my old church that said, winners never quit and quitters never win. And I just live by that slogan. In order to even get your foot out outside the box is to put your foot outside the box. Waiting for somebody to push you or put the fire up under your behind, it just shouldn't be something you should be doing. It should be something that you want to do and that you want to pursue. Now, does that work for people where you can light them up and they be on fire? Sometimes, to where they go all the way to the end to be successful. Sometimes, but you have to know within you the power that God has given you, and that this is part of your destiny or your path. So when you're dreaming, you got to make sure that that dream is something that you really want to obtain, and it's not just something that you're just saying that you're going to do. That you have the power to do whatever you want to do if you get up and do it. But you got to get up and do it. The first thing is to crawl, and then like babies, they don't crawl first. They kind of roll over, and then they crawl, and then they walk, and then they sprint, and then they become these rambunctious kids that tear up your house. That's how it should be. Those are the levels that it should be when you're trying to get to your destination. Baby steps. That's the only mentorship. Oh, but there is some other stuff I should say. Not only about the dedication part, but you also got to do your research. Don't just jump out there and say, because she's doing it, I can do it. You don't know what she did to get to where she is. So you have to do your research. Like for me, I knew to be a best-selling author, I had to look up James Baldwin or somebody who was an indie author before he got to a major publisher, the tactics and the things that he did. If you want to be in the music industry, you look up somebody. I have a good friend, Herb Middleton, who's a producer who used to be with Bad Boys. Talk to people who have had those experiences. Just don't jump in and think that you're the expert, because all it takes is one time to mess up your name, and your name is all you got. So make sure you got it right all the time.
All right, you heard it first live at the Logan Power Show, Miss Teresa Howell. Definitely someone you want to put not only on your television screen, but someone that you want to hear what she has on the pen. Also, you want to hear what kind of art she has that you can hear with your listening ears. Understand this: iron sharpens iron. I want you to encourage her, keep the faith. Like she said again, her day will come where she will be that one on Oprah's books list, that people do get her book, and then also be, like she said, 100,000 subscribers on for her magazine. She'll have hundreds of millions of people that's going to buy her book, and she's going to have plenty of artists, thousands upon thousands, to make her to be a winner. And then when she's done teaching, she's going to have her students talk about how she saved their lives. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what it talks about. The Bible talks about it's better to give than to receive. So let's be a giver. Let's understand the importance that 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7, we walk by faith and not by sight. I thank y'all for watching the Logan Power Show. We love y'all, and we will see you soon. All right. Let's do this here.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.